Hey, everybody. I'm eating chocolate because I'm a professional. I've done this for 20 years and I'm stupid enough to stick a chocolate in my mouth right when we go live, knowing that this has a shorter intro. I'm Matt Dillahunty. Joining me this week on the Sunday Show, Owen Morgan. How are you? And congratulations.
Doing well, yes. Had a baby. Pretty exciting stuff. Just,
Well, you didn't have a
recovering and
baby. Let's not
yeah,
go crazy here.
that's true, I suppose. Yeah, my wife had a baby, but I now have a baby, so that's pretty cool.
That is fair.
Just trying to get used to the whole process of, getting up in the middle of the night and all of that. It's very complicated as it turns out.
Well, for those who don't know, hi, welcome to the Sunday Show here on the line. This is your chance to call in and talk to us. Some people with some background in various religious ideas. If you believe there's a God, if you are a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, a Scientologist, a Rastafari, I don't know, whatever you're advocating for, if you think there's a higher power, which people will call in and be like, you don't believe in a higher power? I'm like, I don't even know what you mean by higher power. If you think there's something supernatural, just call in and explain to us what you believe and why you think we should also believe it. If you have a personal kind of, hey, I believe this because, I had some kind of personal experience, we're happy to discuss that too. Like, what do you think that, why are you convinced because of personal experience? Because I'm a former, for example, here, I'll, look, I'm ready. I am a former Christian. I'm a former Southern Baptist, evangelical, Bible believing, was going to be a preacher Christian. And I thought I had personal experiences and I ascribed them uh, to God and Jesus. And I no longer feel that that was justified at all. And I think that's probably true for all of you, but I don't know. So you'll need to call in 720-619-2288, or there's a link down below if you want to call in from your web browser. Um, there will be a slight delay. We will end up having to, pause and everything else. But also, I came up with a utility today where I can pop this up above my head. And so that way, because I know me, people are like, oh my gosh, you get so mad, you get so irritated. Yes, I do. I have a problem with the lack of closure. My memory isn't what it used to be. These conversations are difficult with lots of meandering and walking off the trail and everything else. And it'll be like, I asked a question and I want to give the person time to answer, but inevitably it's a meandering train wreck of avoidance. And then when we finally get to something, we've got 12 more topics to address. And at no point did we actually answer the question that I asked. And sometimes I'll ask them, hey, what was the question? I want it on screen. I want it on screen for them. I want it on, even though most of them aren't going to necessarily be looking. I want it on screen for me. I want it on screen for the people who are watching so we can say, okay, here's the question that was asked. Are they getting there? This might turn out to be a bad idea, but it's something that I need to try for a little while in the hopes that we can have better conversations. Because despite what anybody might think, that's all we want.
Yeah, I think that's a fine idea. I guess we'll see how it works. Is this the first time we're using this?
Yeah, I literally just put it together like 2 minutes before it. Now there will be down here below where it says call to debate. Eventually, I'm told by the super guy there, Jimmy Snow, that I'll have the ability to use that utility that we use for the call screening and all that stuff.
I like it. Well, let's give it a shot then.
Yeah, we'll get there. We have callers calling in now, queuing up right now, including a call from Bulgaria. So as soon as they're done screening that, we'll get on to that. Apart from babies, which, good job, y'all. I'm glad
Thank you.
everybody's healthy and recovering. Um, you've done this for quite a while. And in recent months, I've done this show and the hang up with some people who are much newer to this and are phenomenal. I mean,
Hmm.
the new crop of folks. Um, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them that are way better than I've ever been at anything on certain issues here for sure.
Right.
And they also, haven't done it for 20 years and don't have my personal anxiety for a lack of closure. So sometimes we get somewhere. But also, I've seen calls that seem to last for an hour. And if you tried to summarize everything that was said of any use, it kind of boils down to I believe because, and then nothing much to pin down. And what I've been asked a lot over the years is, what would change your mind? And I have a kind of a stock answer, depending on, what the claim is. I don't know what would change my mind. And people are shocked. How can you say that? Right? Because I think it would be monumentally arrogant to presume that I have a sufficient understanding of reality that I can tell you exactly what sort of evidence would be needed to process any particular claim. It's kind of you have to present your case and describe what its features are, and then we can discuss how to test it. It's like the James Randi Educational Foundation. For years, they had $1 million prize to anyone who could demonstrate any supernatural, paranormal um, ability. And what would happen is you would apply and say, here's what I can do. And then they would work with you on a test that they and you would both agree to the entire test protocol. And then someone else would administer that test so that, Randy wasn't directly involved with that. And then you would either pass or fail the test. And if you pass the test, that would be the preliminary. There would be a secondary test that would then get you the $1 million prize. And nobody ever passed the preliminary test. And so when somebody says, hey, what would it take to change your mind about a God or whatever else? I can't give you that answer. We need to set up what the preliminary test would be. And for claims about the supernatural, I don't know. But I'm not the ultimate arbiter of this. Do you have something in mind, Owen, that if it were to happen, it would be, I don't know, like people did the writing in the sky stuff. Um, do you have thoughts on what might change your mind about whether or not there's some kind of supernatural being?
I've thought about it. Um, if God came down and said himself, I exist, it's me, and I'm the Christian God and all of that stuff, I would definitely want to make sure that it, wasn't some kind of a trick. Like, how can we rule everything out first? We have to make this the most logical explanation out of any of them. Is aliens more logical in that situation? I think so, because accepting God comes with a whole host of ridiculous claims that Jesus, he walked on water and all of this, changed water into wine, a lot of water related things. Um, we would have to rule out, or we would have to accept all of this stuff along with it. I think even if he did come to Earth and make that claim, it would still be more logical to assume aliens. And I don't know if you heard this, but recently there's a congressman working with a bunch of televangelist types of people. Tim Burchett is the congressman, and he's hosting meetings to get them to prepare their congregations for the possibility that aliens have come to Earth and told us that they are our creators.
I
Because
have not.
he's trying to get like the UFO files unlocked, and he's convinced that UFOs are out there, but they're really demons that are trying to trick us into thinking that they are our creators or whatever. Yeah, wild stuff, dude.
Wow. You
So
ready to?
anyway, like they're preparing for that eventuality, apparently. Yeah.
We've got our first caller, and I already don't understand it. So if you're ready, we can jump on in. Anybody else
Good.
that's out there, 720-619-2288 or the web link down below. Um, Let's see how this goes. Georgi from Bulgaria, he, him says, you're a quantum effect. We are mostly energy and believes in a higher power. Hey, Georgie, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Um, what can you tell us, and how can we know it's true?
Well, have you heard the phrase, reality is stranger than fiction?
Yes.
You are a multidimensional being pretending to be Matt.
Can you prove
Okay.
that?
How do we know that's true?
Can I catch your name, the guy on the right?
Owen. Owen Morgan.
Thank you.
Yeah, how can we know that's true? Can you prove that to us? Give me anything. I will take anything. Get me there. I want to agree with you here. Bridge the gap for me.
Have you heard of quantum entanglement?
Yes.
So it proves there is no time.
No, it doesn't prove there's no time. It
Well,
proves
if
that
we,
when you measure the spin or direction of one particle that is quantumly entangled to another, you can determine the spin or direction or whatever of the other quantumly entangled particle. That's what it proves. Has nothing to do with whether time is real.
but there is
But
no information going from one place to another. It just happens.
okay, I whether time's real or not, the question was, how can we know that I'm a multidimensional being pretending to be Matt?
Well, we're going to go down a rabbit hole now.
I don't need to go down a rabbit hole. I need you to answer that question. Like,
Straight up, we have to
Okay,
forget. We have to
here,
forget
let me
to
try to lay
remember.
this one on you. Let me lay this one on you. You ever heard Einstein say, I think maybe it was Einstein. He said something like, if you can't explain it to a fifth grader, you don't understand it yourself. You ever heard that before?
Yes, I have.
Explain it like I'm a fucking idiot. As simple as you can get it. 3 sentences. Can you do that? If you can't do that, I'm going to assume that you don't really understand it either.
Okay, thank you. So we have to forget to remember from a new point of view, and that's what
sentence one.
delight. Thank you.
Yeah, you just gave me sentence number one. You're giving this to us in 3 sentences, right? It should be very straightforward and simple, I imagine. If you can explain it in 3 sentences or less, then we'll go from there.
Yes, thank you. I'm thinking really hard now.
Okay.
well, I don't understand your first sentence already, but keep going.
So at the moment, there is a shift in energy on this planet. And that is why we're here, to go from dark to light.
Okay, those 3 sentences. I don't understand any of those. I'm sorry. I'm trying here. I want you to get me to where you are. A shift from dark to light. I'm not sure what that means. There's an energy shift on the planet. Is that what you said? I'm not sure what that means either. And ultimately, yes, the question is, how can we know that Matt is uh a multidimensional being pretending to be Matt? That's where we're trying to get. Can you get us there?
Yes.
Okay.
So give me a second, please.
Alrighty. Man, I wish I
Okay.
had Jeopardy music. I have
Yeah,
this music.
I mean, we've got a couple sentences here, and so the question is, how can we know that I'm a multidimensional being pretending to be Matt? I have loads of questions that come after that. Like, if I am a multidimensional being pretending to be me, why am I doing that? Why would I pretend to be me? Because I don't feel like someone pretending to be me. I definitely feel like me. So, but what would be the purpose? And what he said was, we need to forget to remember from a new point of view, and that I don't know if there's a language barrier thing, or if this is like a Deepak Chopra um, word salad thing where he's typing something in somewhere and getting this out. But forget to remember from a new point of view doesn't make sense to me. And he says, at the moment, there's a shift in energy on this planet, and we are here to go from dark to light. And so instead of that being a method by which we could tell that I'm a multidimensional being, it's just another assertion that we would then need to prove. You'd need to prove that there is, in fact, a shift in energy on the planet, what that shift is, how you can tell that shift is occurring, and how you know that that shift is so that we can go from being from dark to light, and what it means to go from dark to light, and how that relates to me being a multidimensional being pretending to be Matt. So I don't feel like we've gotten even the slightest bit closer.
Thank you, Matt, for the summary, because I'm thinking really hard at the moment. So you see, by incarnating in physical reality, we're getting out of our own way, because being infinite, eternal, is something else, and physical reality provides many things for us.
Physical reality provides many things for us. Yes, that's true. All of the things that you laid down just now sounded like they didn't actually make any sense.
Yeah, you said by incarnating physical reality, we are getting out of our own way, because being infinite eternal is something else, and physical provides us many things. None of that makes any sense, and none of that is a method for discerning the truth. So your claim is, Matt, is that I am a multidimensional being that is pretending to be me. What method? I don't need sophistry. I don't need, have you heard this statement? I don't need gobbledygook. I need a method. What method can I use to verify that I am in fact pretending to be me?
I will, excuse me, I will divert your attention to the quantum spookiness of science.
Okay. So Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. What you're referring to here, I believe, which is quantum entanglement. And there was a test done in the 1970s. I believe Einstein suspected that quantum entanglement was really deterministic. You know, it's like taking a left-handed glove in a case up to a mountain and opening it and finding that the other glove must be right-handed. But we've discovered that's not the case. As it turns out, it really is spooky action at a distance, for lack of a better term. That does not mean all of the other things that you're piling on top of it, all of the supernatural ideas or mystical claims, that doesn't mean any of that stuff is true. You could.
And I asked for a method. So here's a new question. Okay. Do you know what a method is?
Taking steps to an end.
Sure. So the thing we're looking for is, what steps can I take to verify that I'm a multidimensional being pretending to be Matt?
Let's look at the double slit experiment. They put the
No, let's not look at the double slit experiment. The double slit experiment is not a method by which we can verify that I'm a multidimensional being.
Also, it's heavily misunderstood, the double slit experiment. It's not mystical or confusing. We understand exactly what's happening in it.
attach the detector at the slits, and
I'm
they
sorry.
also
I'm
in a
sorry.
different position,
I'm
in a
sorry.
different time.
Georgie, there's nothing about the double slit experiment that involves me being a multidimensional being, is there?
The quantum world shows us so much that
I'm
is
sorry,
possible.
that was a yes or no question, Georgie, and you're on my last fucking nerve now.
I didn't acknowledge it that it was a clear question. I'm sorry.
I'm not a part of the double slit experiment, am I?
You contain the infinite inside you.
Prove that I contain the infinite inside me.
Every second you travel from millions and billions parallel realities that are simultaneously existent.
That's not proof, that's a claim. Now we would have to ask you to prove
No,
that
it's
every
the quantum.
second.
It's the.
I'm sorry. I know you're going to crash out real hard, real quick here, because you can't type in to get your gobbledygook quickly enough. You can't just keep making another assertion and stacking an assertion on top of assertion. We need you to demonstrate that something you've said is true. So, what method can we use to verify that I am in fact a multidimensional being pretending to be Matt?
I would advise you to go shoot some basketball hoops and see how reality is dissolvent around you in the sun, and you're plucking strings of light.
You would invite me, you would encourage me to play some basketball hoops? What does that have to do with whether or not I'm a multidimensional being?
Maybe that's something you didn't know about yourself. The basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think I asked you for an assessment of what you think I might not have known about myself. I thought I asked you to demonstrate a method by which I could verify that I am what you say I am.
Because we chose to be here on the planet at this time.
How do you know? Okay, prove that I chose to be on the planet at this time.
Because you're here smiling, living light, finding hope in a hopeless place.
We are here, thus we chose to be here, is what you're saying.
Yes, and we have to own it. We have to own it right now.
Okay.
Yes.
I need you to prove that I chose. How did I choose something before I existed?
Because we watched the Earth form and cool together. We're ancient.
Okay. No. You need to prove that we did that before I existed.
You're making a pretty tall claim on top of all of the others. You're saying that our consciousness existed outside of our bodies, right? And on top of that, we all like existed together and sat in lawn chairs and watched everything cool or something?
Dirt cool, yes.
In lawn chairs, is that part of it?
Of course, why not?
Okay. Did you think that we sat in lawn chairs and watched it happen before I mentioned it just now? Or is that an addition that I made? Is it something I remembered?
It's like everything is possible.
Okay.
So everything is possible.
Is it possible for you to make sense?
Everything is possible.
And can you explain why I didn't choose? Can you explain why I didn't choose to be on the planet at a time when I would get a call from someone who actually made sense and demonstrated the truth of their claims? Do I hate myself?
You're an ancient being. You're so brave and strong.
I know you say I'm an ancient being. How can you prove that I'm an ancient being?
We'll take anything.
That is why there's evil in the world, and that is why people are starving, because we're so strong We know what we're doing.
Okay. I'm going to try something here just a second.
Okay. Since while you're doing that, I will talk. Since the double slit experiment came up, um, a lot of wooey people like to say that it's proof that there are multi universes or whatever. That's not the case. We understand it very well. The wave function collapses as it goes through the slits if it has particles bouncing against it, which is what's necessary for observation. It's not about being observed. It's about things are being bounced off of it and collapsing the wave function. It's not mystical, not confusing, not incredible. It's just science. That's it. And there's a cartoon forever ago that portrayed it as some mystical, odd thing that happens only when observed. That's not how it works. Anyway.
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out about the double slit. So they put the detector at the slit.
No.
And after that, they put the detector after the slits.
No.
And the effect is the same.
No. I'm not listening to you about the double split. Listen, here's my question. How can you prove that one person is the child of another person?
By testing DNA.
It's amazing how when I ask you a straightforward question about how to verify something in physical reality, you're able to instantly give a method. How can you prove that I'm an ancient being who chose to be here in reality at this time?
Because that is why people are starving. But
no,
there is
I'm sorry. This is dishonest as fuck. You asserting that I am an ancient being existing on this planet because people are starving is the stupidest fucking thing I've heard all day. And it's coming from someone who just demonstrated that when asked a question that is sensible, they could give a sensible answer. But now that means you're choosing not to.
Existence is infinite.
I don't give a shit for any more assertions from you. I'm going to ask questions and you're either going to answer them or we're going to drop you like a hot rock. What does higher power mean?
It's us from a different point of view.
No, that's not the question.
I put the question above my head. What does higher power mean? I didn't say, can you tell me what you think the higher power is? I said, what does higher power mean?
Okay. Well, energy. I don't know what to say right now. I don't know how to identify it.
Okay. Then you need to go away. You are not ready for these conversations. You cannot answer a single question about any of the assertions that you're making. And yet you are capable of answering questions about things that we know.
E equals MC squared, boy.
Yes, it does.
Energy.
For okay, I'm going to mute you and you're never going to be able to speak for the rest of today's show. Please go seek some help. You have branched out from reality. And when it comes to all of this nonsense, you do not have the requisite understanding to talk about quantum mechanics, quantum physics, quantum effects, double slit experiments, E equals MC squared, higher powers, higher beings, us from another dimension, remembering to forget. This is a bunch of absolute garbage, new age gobbledygook that is meaningless. And yet you seem to be desperately using it to try to assert meaning. I worry that you need some serious help, and I would recommend reaching out to recoveringfromreligion.org and perhaps the Secular Therapy Project. It's none of my business to diagnose anybody or tell you what meds you might need to be on. I'm wondering. I'm gonna bring you back. I'm not just gonna mute you because while we're waiting for some other calls to get here, let's see if we can find any way to make this um, useful. Would it be fair to say, Georgie, that you understand you can't prove your claims about us being multidimensional beings, but that you're just convinced of this? Is that fair? Let's try that.
If I am only convinced by these New Age ideas. Was that the question?
No, the question was, would you agree that you can't prove what you're claiming, but you still believe it for some reason?
I think yes.
Okay.
But
Why
I've
are you
seen lights in the
comfortable?
sky.
Why are you comfortable believing something that you can't explain and can't prove?
I've seen lights in the sky that do weird shit.
You've seen light in the sky that does weird shit.
Correct.
And that proves all the underlying assumptions to you.
Well, you have to take me at my word.
Well, therein
No.
lies the problem, huh?
I'm fine. I would be willing to believe that you have seen weird things. What I don't have to do, and I don't even have to believe that, but I'm willing to accept that you've seen that. I do not have to accept the conclusion you've reached based on what you saw. It's just like if somebody said they saw something late at night and they think it was a ghost, that doesn't mean it was a ghost, does it?
Correct. I agree.
Correct. So until such time as you can do something beyond tell me stories about what you think you understand from what you think you've experienced, everything you say is completely useless to everybody else. So my question is, above my head, why are you comfortable believing something that you cannot explain and can't prove?
Because without something like realities, like physical reality, there would be no zest. There would be no anything. We need
No zest.
the adventure.
So you're saying you believe it because life would be boring otherwise? Am I reading this correctly?
But the problem is that Owen and I believe we're in a physical reality with zest. And we don't need to believe things that we can't explain or prove.
Well, science would tell you otherwise.
No.
No, it wouldn't. Science doesn't make declarations about zest or what we feel a need to believe. I asked why you're comfortable believe something you can't explain and can't prove. So the entire purpose of science is to explain and to colloquially prove.
Science tells us how and not the why.
Correct. But every how question is also a why question. Why did this building catch fire? We can investigate with science. You're talking about why do we exist? Why is there anything else? And that question presumes that there's an answer when there may not be an answer.
The adventure is already underway,
I'm on an adventure. My question was, why are you comfortable believing something you cannot explain and cannot prove?
Would you like to live in a world where everything was easy?
Does it matter what kind of world I would like to live in?
Yes.
How is that relevant to why you choose to believe something or why you are believing something that you can't explain and can't prove?
Can you repeat?
You asked me what kind of world I'd like to live in. I'd like to live in a world where people were rational, and who were not comfortable believing things that they couldn't explain and can't prove. But clearly, I don't live in that world. And so I'm not aware that what kind of world I'd like to live in has any bearing on the world that I do, in fact, live in. So would you like to tell me why you're comfortable believing something you can't explain and can't prove?
Allow me to correct you on the. I forgot it. Wait a second. Allow me to correct you on rationality. Rationality is instrument. So it can be used, it's a double-edged sword, you know.
I'm not talking about rationality. I'm talking about reason.
It's the same. It's a double-edged sword.
No, it's not the same. No, it's not necessarily the same. However, are you suggesting that proper reasoning is a bad thing?
I'm suggesting we need to own up to something that is hinting at us, you know?
No, I don't know. What does that mean? We need to own up to something is hinting at us?
Yes, the universe.
The universe is hinting at us.
Yes, is this Deepak Chopra? Are we talking to Deepak Chopra right now? Are we being punked?
Not at all. The universe, in its simplest form, is actually a conspiracy.
Okay, now I know we're being punked.
Okay.
It's a conspiracy for our well-being. All of us.
I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and put this up, and I'm going to ask you this question, and you're going to try to answer this one question. And when you fail, I'm going to shut this down and block you. Okay?
Okay.
How can you prove the universe is a conspiracy?
You're not going to like the answer.
I already know I'm not going to like the answer. I knew I wasn't going to like anything about this call. You are not in touch with reality, or you are a troll, or you are using some sort of bullshit generating thing. You're able to answer questions about science if, in fact, you have any grasp or understanding of it. But when it comes to your whole why and how and your nonsensical new age conspiracy theory bullshit, you're an absolutely terrible thinker. And so, of course, I know I'm going to hate this answer. But the question is, how can you prove the universe is a conspiracy? Have you had enough time to type it in?
I'm doing a bong hit right now, so I didn't type it in.
You're doing a bong hit right now, so you didn't type it in.
Yes.
You don't sound like you did a bong hit. Yeah. Hey, what's it sound like? What's it sound like when you're blowing me? Exactly. Congratulations, Georgie. Thanks so much for starting the show off with I will give you credit. You stuck with the bit. Do you want to hear the answer? You don't have an answer. You stuck with the bit. I'm muting you. I'm giving you credit for sticking with the bit. I wasn't going to mute you. I was gonna ask you to, own up and kind of profess what's going on. But congratulations, you stuck with the bit. We're gonna say goodbye now. Unless you'd like to tell me what it is you get out of this.
Am I muted or?
You're not muted. What do you get out of pretending to have something to say to call-in shows?
No, I would like to answer you on your previous question.
No. I'm at the new here. I'm sorry. Let me mute you for a second while I update the question. Because that's only fair since I'm using this new thing here.
That thing's really useful. I like that. Really forces people to focus in on it.
Okay. So now I've updated this. Here's the new question. The new question is, what do you get out of trolling?
No, I'm not.
No, Georgie. We are light years beyond the point at which you could pretend you're not trolling. So just answer the question. What do you get out of it?
I was making a lighthearted joke about the bong.
No. I, I need to know what you get out of trolling, or I'm just going to click drop and you won't get through.
Well, I'm finding fun in a hopeless place.
We found love in a hopeless place, but we didn't find anything useful from Georgi. So thanks so much. I'd love it. By the way, genuinely, even though this isn't the purpose of the Sunday show, if you are someone who has frequently called in and trolled the show and you'd like to explain what you get out of it, like, is it just funny? Is it, you know, I wouldn't mind knowing.
It's secretly Matt Slick. He's calling in, and
it's not Matt.
Because he doesn't. No, it's not. But people
I know
like
Matt.
that.
Matt wouldn't do that.
No, he would come on and he would say, "Geez, won't you let me get in a word? I can't just explain
Probably
myself."
not, because Matt and I actually get along.
Really? Okay. He called with me and Aaron Ra, and he complained about not being able to get a word in edgewise.
Well, he would complain to me, but I mean, that wouldn't like be the first thing. He was actually going to come down, hang out at the house, have some tequila, and we were going to have some discussions on stuff. But we never got the timing to work out when he was actually down here in Austin. But
yeah,
we have new callers calling in, including that last call. By the way, Georgi was calling from Bulgaria, and this is also a web caller from Hungary. And there's been 2 other web callers from Germany. It's amazing, because their IP address is very similar. We have the same person is called in from a web server in Switzerland, 2 different web servers in Switzerland. Somebody's now calling in from a web server in Hungary. And, it's very difficult. Oh, and Julian's calling again from another one in Switzerland. It's amazing. I'm hoping one of these will actually be a real caller with a good topic of conversation.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like we have somebody lining up right now that could be interesting.
Good.
Taking a look through. Yeah, the double slit experiment is often used by wooey people when it's really not wooey at all. We understand it very well. And I blame this kid's cartoon from a documentary that was supposed to be explaining how mystical it is, like years ago. I mean, early 2000s. And it just kind of ruined people's understanding of it forever. It's really disappointing. Now we get people like that calling in and telling us about the double slit experiment, proving observation, blah, blah, blah. Absurd.
I'm looking forward to this next call, because this is going to be really confusing, because I guarantee you, like, I don't have my little notepad here. I'm going to type into the question thing. Let me turn the question off. I'm going to type my prediction into the question, and my hands won't go near the keyboard at all.
Gonna predict what they're gonna say?
Yes.
Okay.
Here we go. All right. We have Robert from Hungary, who's a theist, pronouns are he, him. Robert's going to explain to us how Christianity introduced charity to the West, etc. So, hey, Robert, how are you?
Hey, Matt. First of all, I wanted to apologize to you for being a dick last time. I was very mean and was trying to forgive you at the end of the last call. So
let's not.
Sorry about that.
I don't even remember you. I don't need an apology. I just need to get the calls.
Okay, so yeah, I wanted to talk to you about this topic because of Bart Ehrman's new book that came out.
Whose new book?
Bart Ehrman.
Bart Ehrman's
book. Bart Ehrman. Okay, yeah.
yeah, it's the title is Love Thy Stranger, and he investigated and he discovers and lays out how the first hospitals were Christian in the West, and how the Roman and Greek culture used to be very not the idea to giving charities to strangers, unknown people, was kind of like a selfish reason to aggrandize yourself and not as a moral good in their philosophies.
I haven't read Bart's book, but I don't know why that's relevant.
Well, because the topic, like,
it's not the topic. It's not the topic. So
no.
Christianity may have been responsible for changing a number of different things. That doesn't mean that the core tenets of Christianity are true. It doesn't mean there's a God. It doesn't mean that Jesus was divine. None of that.
Right.
So why should I care if, I mean, the word charity originates from a term for Christian love.
Yep.
That has nothing to do with whether Christianity is true, does it?
No, but should you care?
No, you don't have to put a but on there. No, you don't have to put a but on there. It doesn't have anything to do with whether or not Christianity is true, and that's what I care about. I have no problem with the fact that Christianity has been responsible, the people within Christianity, imposing certain doctrines or following certain doctrines, have been a positive influence on a number of different areas. They've also been an incredibly negative influence on a number of areas. I only care whether or not it's true. Do you have some way to demonstrate it's true?
But do you care whether or not people should be Christians or not?
No, I care whether or not it's true. Okay, is it possible for me to be as charitable and more charitable even though I'm not a Christian? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is it also possible for me, by teaching good values and the value and understanding of how we live cooperatively and how empathy and compassion helps people, and that charity actually benefits people, whether there's a God or not, it's possible for me to teach other people that too, right?
Yes.
So nobody needs Christianity to be charitable. So we can do the good part, charity, without keeping all the baggage. So as far as Christianity is concerned, I only care whether or not it's true. And to say you should be a Christian because it gives you a benefit you can get without being a Christian is silly.
Yes, but you're lowering it to a personal level, and on a societal
level. No, I didn't.
No,
I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't lower it to personal level. I literally asked you if it was possible to teach other people. I literally asked you, and you affirmed that I can, in fact, spread and teach these values to others. So I absolutely did not lower it to a personal level. I immediately, before you decided to lie about what I said, took it to a societal level, didn't I?
No, I don't think you did, because teaching someone...
No, I absolutely did. I absolutely did, and you agreed. So here we go. I'm going to ask you the question. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Why do I need to be a Christian?
Why do you need to be a Christian?
Correct.
I don't think you need to be. I think you should be.
Okay, great. Okay, so you've answered that one. How can we know Christianity is true?
I don't think we can.
Okay, then you have nothing I'm interested in.
Well, I think that Christianity can be true, could be true.
I didn't ask that.
And I think
I didn't ask that.
Beneficial.
I don't care if you think, Robert. I don't care if you think it's possible for Christianity to be true. That doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. But do you not care if people are atheists or Christians? You don't.
No, I don't. I care whether or not people are rational and good people. And that's not, Christianity isn't required for either of those. As a matter of fact, I would argue that in order to be rational, you should definitely not be a Christian.
I see this. So you don't think that you can be a Christian and rational?
Oh, I think you can be a Christian and be rational about some things, but I do not think that Christianity is rationally justified.
Those are not the same things, I think, because you can still be a Christian and be rational about
not about
Christianity.
Not about Christianity.
Not about,
so
what?
You just admitted just a minute ago that you don't think we can know if Christianity is true. But in order to be a Christian, you need to believe that Christianity is true. And if you believe something that you cannot know is true, that is by definition irrational.
See, I would disagree with that.
I don't care if you disagree. You are factually wrong. It is simply irrational to believe that something is true when you have no way of confirming that it's true. That is the opposite of reason. Isn't
it only irrational if you have a reason to believe that it is not true?
No. And the reason for that is this. No, listen, this is really easy. We're going to fix you in a heartbeat here. You think it's possible for Christianity to be true, but you can't confirm it. Is it also possible for Islam to be true, but you can't confirm it?
Yes.
Is it also true for Scientology, possible for Scientology to be true, but you can't confirm it?
No, there are a bunch of factual claims made by Scientology, like the souls from other planets and yada, 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 that can be verified to be false.
I'm sorry. How do you prove that the soul is not from another planet when you can't even prove that there's a soul? Let's stop with that stuff, Robert, because your Bible can't even get the order of creation events right and is wrong inside of the first couple of verses. But my point is, if there are a number of different things, just listen. If there are a number of different positions that you think are possibly true but can't be confirmed, and you pick one, you have now made a decision about which one is likely to be true, and you can be wrong, that's possible, but you also would have to agree that it is rational to hold those other positions as well. So you think it's rational to believe Christianity, and it's rational to believe Islam, and it's rational to believe Judaism, but those things are in conflict, and they cannot all be true, but they can all be false. That's what reason is. Reason and rational thinking is saying, hey, here are multiple possible explanations. I have no way of determining which of them is most likely correct or if any of them are correct. Therefore, the rational position is not to accept any of them. You're trying to say that the rational position is to accept any or all of them. That's not reason.
I think it's also rational to not accept any of them, but I don't see how it is irrational. It's just accepting it without commitment that it has to be true.
No.
It can be just a question of...
Robert, are you a Christian?
Yes, I'm a Catholic.
Well, okay. Some Catholics would say that Catholicism or Catholics aren't Christians, but okay. So you're a Catholic. Mm-hmm. You're not a Protestant, right?
Yep.
Is it rational to be a Protestant?
Yep.
And it's rational to be a Catholic?
Yes.
And they don't agree on doctrinal positions, correct?
Correct.
How is it possible for two people to believe two different things about the same thing and for both of them to be rational about it?
They can be rational, just wrong. You can be irrational and be a Democrat or a Republican. Just one of you is wrong.
I disagree about that as well. Yes, it is possible for you to be factually wrong, but being rational is saying, I have sufficient reason to conclude that this is true. And if you are a Catholic and you think that that is what reason dictates, then you might be acting within reason, internally consistent, and just acknowledge that you might be wrong. But if you also say that you're convinced that it's also rational to believe something else, then you are now irrational. Like, for example, when I was a Protestant, I would have said that that was the rational conclusion, and Catholicism was not a rational conclusion, and that the evidence and the weight of the evidence compelled Protestantism over Catholicism. But you are suggesting that it's possible to accept either or both of them, and that's rational. If it's possible that I killed somebody, and it's possible that Owen killed somebody, is it rational to believe that I did it? Is it rational to believe that Owen did it? Is it rational to believe that someone could believe both?
And let's make it a little more specific. Is it rational to disagree with the Trinity? Is it rational to think the Trinity is incorrect?
Yes, it's completely rational. There are good arguments for both.
Your definition of rational is useless. Your definition of rational is useless and inconsistent with good reasoning. Rational,
my definition.
I'm sorry, but rational is when we are aligned with reason in a way that most probably leads to an accurate understanding of reality. You have redefined reasonable to an internal consistency that does not bear out external warrant just so that you can claim any. Can you name a position that isn't rational?
A position that isn't rational? Sure. Nazis, that Aryans are a superior race of Germans who are from Atlantis. Like those arguments are.
What is not reasonable or logical about that position? What's not reasonable or logical? What's not reason or logical about that position?
Well, they are not nothing they are not don't match reality. Nazi Germans have a different genetics than Aryan Indians. Atlantis never existed.
How do you know Atlantis never existed?
How do I know Atlantis never existed? Because it's a morality tale created by Plato, I think.
I need you to demonstrate how it's reasonable to believe that Atlantis never existed. Do you understand what the term unfalsifiable means?
It's unfalsifiable to Atlantis.
I'm sorry.
Existence.
Do you know what the term unfalsifiable means?
Yes.
Is it reasonable to believe that something unfalsifiable has been falsified?
Something.
So, you're saying, I think what you're saying is it's unfalsifiable to know if Atlantis existed or not. We can't know that with absolute certainty, right? I found it interesting that you just said that we know that Atlantis wasn't real because it was an old tale told in an old book. But you don't apply that same reasoning to all of the other stuff that you believe. We know the origins of the term or the tale or whatever, so you reject it?
No, but sorry. I think there's a clear difference between a morality tale that we know Plato made up to show as an example of his philosophy and a scripture that people actually believe is true, and they might be wrong, but like you're comparing Christianity to Looney Tunes or the Lord of the Rings.
No, I'm asking you a question. It's on the screen. Is it reasonable to believe that an unfalsifiable claim has been falsified?
Sorry, I don't understand that.
Okay, if there is a claim, listen, if there is a claim and that claim is unfalsifiable, is it reasonable to believe that it has been falsified?
You mean it has been proven wrong?
Yes, unfalsifiable means like you can't.
This is why I asked if you fucking knew what unfalsifiable means. Do you know what unfalsifiable means? It means there is no way to stop talking. Unfalsifiable. I know, and I'm fucking giving you the answer. You should just say thanks it to yourself and wait till I'm fucking done. Unfalsifiable means that the claim cannot be shown to be false. If the claim cannot be shown to be false, then it would be unreasonable to believe that it has been shown to be false. Correct?
Yes.
Cool. Is the claim that Atlantis never existed falsifiable? Or sorry, is the claim that Atlantis existed falsifiable?
No.
Then it would be unreasonable to believe that it had been shown to be false, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Therefore, your claim that it's reasonable to believe that Atlantis didn't exist is not, in fact, reasonable, because your claim is that it has been shown to be false that Atlantis existed.
No, my claim is that it has been shown that Atlantis was created purposefully as fiction.
No, it wasn't, Robert. This is an equivocation fallacy. There are stories about Atlantis that you can show were invented and are most probably fiction. But you cannot show that the city... Stop talking. Stop talking. There's a difference between the origin of the story and the origin of the city, correct?
Yes.
Do you have any information on the origin of the city? Not the stories about the city, the city.
But it is the first story about the city.
Do you have any fucking information about the origin of the city?
No, because it's fictional.
No. Is the origin of the city a testable claim? Yes or no?
No.
If the origin of the city is not a testable claim, then it could not be reasonable to conclude that you could say the city never existed, correct?
Yes. But unlike
Fine. Now, I don't need, no. Stop talking. Is the existence of Jesus something that you can verify?
Like the historical Jesus? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
You said earlier that Christianity was not testable, correct?
Yes.
If Christianity is not testable, then just like the origin of Atlantis, it would be unreasonable for you to believe that it is in fact exists or does not exist, correct?
No, not just like it.
Oh, fucking bullshit. All right, I give up, Owen. I can't.
Okay.
So
This guy does not understand reason. Stop talking. I'm talking to Owen now. Nobody gives a shit what somebody who does not understand reason and who, when led up to the river of reason, decides to shut their fucking mouth in order to protect their cherished bullshit.
All right, so yes, let's try another tactic. Let's just move away from reason for a minute. Why do you believe in God?
Because I think it leads to moral good and flourishing society.
Okay, that's a reason why you would want to be Christian, but not why you would believe in God, right? Why do you actually believe this is real?
Yes, I think it makes my life better, have more calmness, happiness.
Okay, interesting. And again, that would be why you would want to be a member of the church and a Christian.
Yeah.
But what reason do you have? Let me ask another way. Do you think that Jesus was a real historical figure?
That's not in doubt, right? I mean,
well, it is. But yes, I think I agree with you. He was probably a real figure. Now, do you believe all of the other stuff on top of that about Jesus? Do you think he walked on water, that he was the Son of God, and all of the other stuff? on top of all of, or on top of that?
Yes.
Why?
There is no good reason not to, and
There
believing
there is no good reason to believe all of that stuff, though, right? Like, you believe that Muhammad was God's messenger and that he did all the other stuff?
I choose not to.
You
choose
choose not to believe.
Yes.
Interesting, because in my experience, belief isn't something you choose. It's a conclusion you reach. I don't believe that Muhammad was God's messenger because that's the conclusion I reached. I don't choose not to believe in that. You choose not to believe in Islam?
I reached the conclusion that Christianity and Islam, to one degree or another, are unlikely to be true, but finding the claims not impossible or contrary to reality, and seeing the benefits of faith, I choose to have faith. I think the problem with you guys and many atheists online is that you come from an evangelical society that has a very hard, very strong beliefs of Christianity. But
shut your fucking mouth. Shut your fucking mouth and listen to me. I spent 20 years engaging with Catholics, Protestants, Mormons, Scientologists. I deal with what is presented to me. I'm not judging your ridiculous criminal organization based on my Protestant background. I've studied all of this beyond just a Protestant background. Instead of sitting here trying to fucking psychoanalyze us and tell us what's wrong with us, that we're looking at your religion from a Protestant background, maybe you should learn to fucking defend your beliefs and actually stand up and grow a fucking backbone instead of just saying, well, I think it does good things. Nobody gives a fuck if you can do good things and credit the religion. I care if it's true. That's what I said at the start of this conversation. That's what I said the last time we spoke. You can't demonstrate that it's true, so why are you wasting my fucking time?
Because I think the people you have been arguing with for the past 20 years are morons. The more hardcore.
I'm arguing with you right now, dipshit. How dare you suggest that everybody else is a moron, but you're not? After you just sat on reason and demonstrated that you don't have a fucking clue about what is or isn't reasonable, and you don't care what is or isn't reasonable. You're an absolute embarrassment to apologetics. You aren't better than those morons, as you like to call them. You should stop using that word as well.
Also, Matt has debated some very intelligent people, people, who some of whom left religion and then came back or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I listen to them, but I think he gets a bias about who Christians are because most of the people, many people he interacts with.
Robert, I'm muting you again. Fuck you. My bias is towards skepticism and logic. My bias is towards humanism. I evaluate the claims of the caller. I have given you monumental latitude, asked you repeatedly to justify, hand walked you right up to the edge of reason where you jumped off a fucking cliff and demonstrated that you are too stupid and dishonest to actually give a shit about reason. You think it's reasonable for people to accept multiple different things because they're possible. You think it's unreasonable after you asserted this acceptance of an unfalsifiable position about Atlantis to say, oh, it's okay for me. It is reasonable for me to accept another unfalsifiable position because that one's about Jesus. You don't get to lecture me on anything about me. You are a clown. Are you able to demonstrate the truth of the Catholic Church's position? Yes or no?
No.
Then go the fuck away. Nobody gives a shit if you like it.
I think you do give a shit.
I don't give a shit if you like. I just literally just fuck. Here, let me mute you again, and now I'm going to school you again. You obnoxious, annoying, delusional little fuckhead. Listen very carefully. I want to know if it's true. If it's true, I may or may not adhere to it, but I will at least believe it's true. But you come in admitting that you have no way to demonstrate that it's true and want the rest of us to pretend like you do, that you're rational, that you have a rational position. You have a rational position that is you like something, so you're going to go with it. Owen's right. You've given a reason to participate in a tradition. You have a rational justification that this particular tradition has done some good, and therefore you have a reason to participate. But we addressed that at the beginning of the call. And participating in that religious tradition is not essential to achieving the goals that you find valuable. You can have charity without the Catholic Church. You can actually have charity that isn't accompanied by child rape. You can have charity that isn't tied to a criminal organization. You can have charity that isn't tied to obscene wealth. You can have charity that doesn't put a stranglehold on prophylactics and treatments for people who are gay in South Africa. You can have charity and accompany it not just with the science that you don't find completely inconvenient, but all of science. You can have charity and not have to pretend that some virgin gave birth or the cracker that you ate transubstantiates into something magical and mystical. You can have charity without stealing children from unwed mothers and creating a graveyard underneath rectories. All of those things are part of the Catholic Church's tradition. As are, by the way, you wanted to shit on the Nazis, support for Nazis. I don't have to support any of that, and I can still support charity. I can be a part of a tradition that supports and encourages charity without the baggage you're trying to bring along with it. If you wanted to make a case that your position was actually better, cool, but you don't. You just want to make a case that it's decent and you like it, while you cherry pick and ignore all the things that are bad and problematic. And after I tell you, all I give a shit about is it true? There are plenty of religions that have people in them that have done good things. And there are plenty of religions that have some doctrine that is good. Forgive. Cool. Turn the other cheek. Cool. All good things are, in moderation. Cool. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Not cool. If a man lies with another man as he lies with a woman, they've committed an abomination or deserving of death. Not cool. You shall buy your slaves from the heathen that surround you. Not cool. Go ye therefore unto the world preaching the gospel. Not cool. You're not spreading good information. You're spreading a doctrine. You're spreading the doctrine that comes with all the baggage. Go kill all the Amalekites, all the Midianites, all of everybody. Hey, Jephthah, sacrifice your daughter to me. Not cool. I'm not interested in you trying to come in and spend time rationalizing your horrible, unreasonable, irrational, personal decision as if it's good for other people. I only want to know if it's true, and you've already admitted you can't do that. So why should we continue having any conversation with you about things I don't care about?
Yeah, I used to believe that I only care to believe what is true. And I also want to care about what is beneficial to me and society.
Nope, I'm sorry. Those are true things. Let's try this again. Is what's beneficial to what's beneficial to society a true thing?
What?
You said that you used to care about what was true, but now you care about whether something's beneficial. If something is beneficial, is that true?
We can know that something is beneficial.
If something is beneficial, is that true? If something is beneficial to society, is it true that it's beneficial to society?
Something can be false.
If something is beneficial to society, is it true that that something is beneficial to society? Yes or fucking no, dipshit.
We cannot. Something can be beneficial to society.
Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Here we go. We're going to try this again. We're going to try it with this because you are genuinely the dumbest motherfucker I've spoken to all week. And I've spoken to some dumb motherfuckers. If X is good for society, is it true that X is good for society? I never figured when I put together my little fucking question posting thing that I would have to actually put up a straight up tautology in order to get some idiot to acknowledge and answer the question. So the question is right above my head. Are you ready? If X is good for society, is it true that X is good for society? Yes or no?
That wasn't your question before.
Yes, it was, you lying fucking... Listen to me, dipshit. Answer that question, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. And so that means that if you care about what's good for society, you're still caring about truth, right?
Yes. But not just...
Do you care? Do you care if your God exists?
Yes.
Can you verify that your God exists?
No.
If you cannot verify that your God exists, is it reasonable to believe that that God exists?
Yes.
No, it's not. You don't care about truth. You don't care about truth.
I don't only care about truth. That's not the only thing I care about.
What else is there to care about other than truth?
You care about lies? You care about falsehoods? You care about things that are not accurate? Or are you willing to accept those inaccurate, false, incorrect things if there's some other reason to accept them other than whether it's true? You should accept things if they are true and reject them if they are false, right?
Yes, but I don't only care about truth. There are other things to also care about.
The fact that you said you don't...
accept that things are ambiguous or not known.
The fact that you said that you don't just care about true things tells me that you don't care fully if it's true or not. Is that fair to say? Let me just reword what you're saying. It's okay with me if the thing I believe is false. That's fine. In some cases, I don't care if it's true or not. That's what you're saying here, right?
No, I care if it's true or not. I
accept
that if something may or may not be true. And
so you don't care if it's true or not. You're saying it may or may not be true. Thus, you don't care if it's true. You're willing to accept the fact that it may not be true. That's not a deal breaker for you.
Yes.
Well, that's the problem. It is a deal breaker for me. I want to believe...
The problem is,
go ahead.
Is it reasonable to believe that X is true if you cannot show that X is true?
Yes.
No,
I think it is
it's
reasonable
not. It is not reasonable to believe. Stop. If you'd shut your fucking mouth and listen, you might learn. There's a difference between believing X is true and X might be true. And X is possibly true. Those are three different propositions, correct?
Correct.
If you do not know if it's possible, then you cannot know if it's probable, and you cannot know if it's true. So it would be unreasonable to believe the contingent claim that X is true if you haven't got justification for believing that it's probable or possible, correct?
You can... Sorry, ask that again?
You want that reworded?
Yeah.
Yeah, English is a second language, may be a barrier.
Yeah, sorry.
The claim is that X is true. The time to believe that X is true is when it's been demonstrated and supported by evidence that X is true. It's not justified to believe that X is true merely because you're convinced it possibly might be true, right?
Yes.
So,
yes, right.
yeah,
Cool.
okay.
Thank you, Jesus. So if we do not have justification to believe that X is possibly true, then it would be unreasonable to believe that X is actually true, right?
Well, wait, why do we not have justification to
Holy
believe
fucking shit.
True?
If we do not have reason to believe that X is possibly true, it would be unreasonable to believe that X is actually true, correct?
How do you have justification for the
It's a yes or no fucking question that you already agreed to.
How do you have justification for something?
X, it's X. I'm speaking in the fucking abstract, you dense motherfucker. You already agreed to this. I am gradually building up to show you that what you've already fucking agreed to demonstrates that you're irrational. You don't get to ask me any fucking questions. I'm asking you a yes or no question. You already agreed to this. Let's try again, because I'm about to drop you. If you do not have reason to believe that X is possibly true, whatever X is, if you do not have reason to believe it's possibly true, it would be unreasonable to believe it's actually true. Correct?
The way you're phrasing it, if you don't have reason
fuck
that
yourself.
X is possibly true.
I don't know.
You hung up, you said? Okay.
Yeah. I cannot, there is no way to teach reason. I know of no way to teach reason more clearly than that. I mean, right down to, like, we're basically pointing to identity, non-contradiction, excluded middle. We're talking about, hey, is it reasonable to believe that X is actually true if you don't have any reason to think it's even possibly true? And once you start that, even in the abstract, the caller's brain puts up a fucking barrier, because somewhere beneath the surface, he knows he's unreasonable. He knows he has an irrational position. And when he agrees in the abstract, the closer you get to the concrete, the more his brain freaks the fuck out. And it's terrifying that he might have to admit that he's... And what's weird is, I don't know why that would bother you. If you've already admitted that you don't care if something's actually true, why would it bother you that you're unreasonable? You've thrown reason out.
Yeah, it was kind of odd that the dude just decided to, like, he couldn't seem to give me an answer for why he believed, aside from I just like it and I think it's good for society. Just very odd conclusions that dude came to.
I just want to cry.
Right?
Like, there's another caller, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm probably not going to, I'm going to bow out ahead of time and not be involved with this call.
Okay.
Because I genuinely think this is the stupidest fucking topic I've heard since the Gospel of Judas thing the other day. But let me just say this, and I'll take a break.
Okay.
I found my way out of religion by studying and understanding skepticism, epistemology, logical fallacies, reason. And over the years, I've taught a lot of people. And I've been under the impression that people are teachable, and that when you can make someone understand the basics of logic, the basics of a fallacy, of why, I think you could make people understand the difference between I believe X is false and I do not believe X is true. Those are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I genuinely believed that evidence supporting empirical evidence, supporting rational arguments about the way the world works ought to convince and compel people to change their mind and to at least only hold to those positions that have some warrant. And I found myself, after 20 plus years of doing this, in a world taken over by fascists, by Christian nationalists, and taking calls from people who, no matter how hard you try, they can maybe agree in the abstract and then can't. There's some roadblock. This is fucking exhausting. The Christian apologists out there, the serious, serious ones out there, they're not calling the fucking show because they already know they're liars. They already know they don't have a leg to stand on. They already know they don't have evidence. They already know they don't have any way to demonstrate this. They've given up. They're out there trying to convince the Muslims. That's what your inspiring philosophies and these other individuals, that's what they're out there doing. Oh, let's reach out to this and let's reach out to the gullible. And the world has now become stupid enough and irrational enough that Christian apologists don't have to put any fucking effort into it. They just need to go out and spread the good feels and lie their ass off. And then we get dipshits calling in. Well, I don't just care about truth. I care about things that might not be true if it feels good to me and blah, blah, blah. And I helped create this. I'm not taking it all on my fucking shoulders. I didn't create the Jubilee fucking bullshit formats, but I did help with modern day debates. Somebody reached out to me and said, you should ask modern day debates if they'll go ahead and schedule a rematch between you and Andrew Wilson. And I'm like, what? You were not paying attention? The dude who can't open a jar, can't argue his way out of a wet paper bag? Yeah, oh, you completely destroy him. Yes, but I have no interest in destroying. I want to have honest conversations. That's why my favorite debate opponents have been people like John Ferrer, like Junta, hell, even Matt Slick. Matt and I can have great conversations. Because at least the basics of reason aren't tossed out and shit on before we get started. The world's getting worse. The world's getting dumber. I don't know that there's any way to fix it. I can't wait to have Jeff on a show with me. Jeff from, I'm sorry, I've forgotten the name, but it's like the end of a species thing. We're cooked. And so I'm going to apologize in advance, mildly, to this caller. Jacob, pronouns are they, them, atheist from Illinois, wants to discuss a topic that I'm going to mute my microphone and I'm going to play chess while you and Owen talk about it. I hate everything about the fact that this is a call.
Okay. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I hope that I'm not going to cause as much anguish as the last caller. I'm not here to really defend it. Like, I'm not a Mormon. I haven't been for 6 years. But a while ago, I saw a video with that Matt was in, and he said that Mormonism was the second most ridiculous religion of modern times. He didn't mention what the first one was, but I thought that
I
was
would guess
interesting.
Scientology.
That was my guess. So it's nice to know.
You can find out in a minute once he comes back. Yes, it's Scientology. There you go.
Okay.
He said yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess I could start with briefly going over my I think you guys call it deconstruction.
Yeah.
I could quickly go into that so you can kind of get where I'm coming from. So, one of the things about Mormonism that I'm sure you guys have heard of, is they're all about the afterlife and how that families can be together and you can be with your wife and your children. And one of the aspects is that they have several levels of heaven. And to get into the highest level, you have to be married. And and though it's never said, you were very much implied to have kids. I never had been told that directly, but it was very much implied by everything that I was taught. The thing is, though, I'm asexual and aromantic. Okay. The idea of getting married, the idea of having kids are repulsive to me. Like, it's not just I don't want to. The idea makes me sick. I don't want to have a wife. The idea of sharing my house with somebody, the idea of having children, I don't like that at all. And I just thought to myself, why would God make me like this? Why would God make the highest level of heaven a punishment? Because that's what it would be. If I was to do everything I was told, I would live a miserable life in this, what was supposed to be a paradise. So that was sort of the start. It's a little embarrassing to say that even after that realization, it took me 2 years to actually leave the church. It was sort of just a small death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing where I kept noticing thing after thing after thing, and finally I just couldn't take it anymore. And I tried to turn to God. I prayed for every day for 6 months, fasted every Sunday, all to feel the Holy Ghost, and I didn't feel anything. So I lost my reason to believe, and so I left the church.
Well, that's a step in the right direction. It took me a long time to leave the church, too, the Jehovah's Witnesses, so I understand.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Okay, so I guess 6 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can't say that I just moved away from Utah a couple years ago, so I was surrounded by Mormons, and it's hard to say that I still, like, Mormonism still affects me. I guess that's just what I was taught. The indoctrination has definitely affected the way I view things, and it's been a lot of work to try to unbrainwash myself, and I can't say that it's 100% complete. Part of the reason why I know it's not 100% complete is because when Matt said that, I kind of felt insulted, even though I know I shouldn't, even though I haven't been a member of this church for years, and even though I know this church has done many evil things, I still have some emotional attachment that I can't get rid of no matter how hard I try.
Yeah,
anyway,
I don't think I have an emotional attachment to Jehovah's Witnesses in that way. But yeah, I understand kind of being defensive of your old religion, I suppose.
Yeah. So I'm not here to try to convert you guys or anything. Obviously, I don't believe in it.
Okay.
But I do think that, and maybe you guys can convince me otherwise, but I don't think Mormonism is nearly as ridiculous as Catholicism, for example. So I could go.
I disagree. I think it's very ridiculous. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So maybe we'll be coming from different directions for this. So first thing, the big one for me is that we were never taught the literal interpretation of the Bible. I knew a couple Mormons that did believe in it, but we were never told that is absolutely that is we should take it literally. In fact, we are told that we should view it from that it's mistranslated. So the idea that we don't have that literal interpretation already is a huge thing to me of why Mormonism is better than Catholicism about that.
So you're saying you think that it's better than Catholicism because you're not supposed to interpret it literally according to the Book of Mormon?
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
Well,
okay.
So the way that the Mormons teach is that the Bible has a lot of flaws due to its translation, and obviously that's wrong. There's flaws even in the original translation, but we weren't taught that. But the fact that you are taught that there's problems with the Bible, that you shouldn't take everything literally, as I think is a great difference. between.
I can appreciate that,
who...
but think about some of the things that are taught. Some of the anachronisms in the Book of Mormon. I mean, just like they talk about, don't they talk about horses in the Book of Mormon, but horses didn't exist in that time and place? They
Yeah,
talk
I
about
do
all
think
kinds of anachronistic stuff that's obviously completely false, right?
I did hear about the horses. I do know of a couple of them, but I mean, you can't get more false than Noah's flood and the God creating the world in 6
Yes,
days.
you can. What's Reformed Egyptian?
Oh yeah, you did mention that in what I said. The thing is,
No.
that
I know I said I was going to stay quiet, but Mormonism, you have one book by one guy, translated by magical seer stones in a fucking hat that is lost or stolen and then redone again. And he claims it's done in Reformed Egyptian, which isn't even a real fucking language, and it's accessible to nobody else other than him. And yet in the Bible, you have a bunch of different books written by different people in different languages that can be independently verified. It is beyond stupid to suggest that Mormonism isn't more cartoonishly ridiculous than Catholicism in its origins to begin with. Reformed Egyptian isn't even a real language. This is by a con artist, a convicted con artist. I mean, it's right up there with Scientology, where somebody went out to invent a religion. You don't have that same sort of religious invention with Catholicism by an individual.
Right, and also the Pearl of Great Price, I believe, was supposedly translated from like this old Egyptian document or whatever, and we turns out like the Egyptian document did exist, and we recovered it and found out it was just an old funerary text, and like Joseph Smith just flat out lied about translating it. Like it didn't say anything that he claimed it did. Now that we have the real thing, that's pretty ridiculous. There are a lot of ridiculous stories in Catholicism, in the Bible generally, but that's an additional step that Catholicism doesn't take.
So is it the fact that it's? So you said the fact that it's written by a single person and that it's modern?
No, it's. I think that it's that he fabricated additional things, and he's a known factual convicted con artist, and that he flat out lied intentionally. We don't have hard evidence that a lot of people in Catholicism lied. Some of them certainly, like flat out intentionally fabricated information, but we know for a fact Joseph Smith fabricated basically all of it, that he knowingly, intentionally made shit up with the intent to deceive people. A lot of the old Bible characters could probably be passed off as just suckers, unintelligent suckers who didn't know any better and were spreading their honest beliefs at the very least. I mean, Joseph Smith most definitely just made all of that up, right?
Oh, I totally agree. He made everything up. I totally agree.
He wasn't he wasn't a true believer, is what I mean. Like, he could have been a true believer. Like, he really did believe, like, all the stuff that he was saying. I think that he made it up. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I will say that I had never heard of Reformed Egyptian, and before Matt mentioned it in the video I saw earlier, which, being taught as a Mormon for 25 years and never heard of that is interesting.
Imagine that. Hey,
yeah,
imagine that. So first of all, yeah, I don't care which one is more ridiculous, and I definitely don't care what somebody who doesn't know enough about both of them thinks is more ridiculous. That's why I hate everything about this call. Nothing about this call could This is like, who's better, Batman or Iron Man at having sex? That's how bad this is.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Reformed Egyptian is definitely part of it.
Okay,
Sorry,
if
what?
you feel like that, I can go. I mostly called because I thought it would be a fun conversation to have, but if this is frustrating to you, then we can just end it here. Because I don't want to make your day worse. That's not my intention. I didn't come here to really try to convince you. I thought it would be fun to talk about with some people that I find interesting.
So
And
the purpose
honestly,
of this
Matt,
co is
I
the
feel
purpose
like
of
that.
this show is for people to defend religious beliefs, not for former believers to come in and run fan fiction.
Okay, well, that's
By the
why.
way,
Well,
magic
the fact.
underwear, the Garden of Eden in Missouri, the notion that the ancient Israelites were here in the United States, like the number of ridiculously factually demonstrably false things within Mormonism is eclipsed only by, I think, the absurdity of Scientology. But if you want to say that Catholicism is more ridiculous because of, I don't know what, transubstantiation or Trinity or whatever else, cool. I don't give a fuck. Not the slightest fuck.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this conversation to be something that I didn't mean for this conversation to end up like this. If I
It
knew
didn't.
that,
We just didn't have any other callers, or I would have dropped you before we took it. But we didn't have callers, and so
You're good. It was an
to be
interesting
fair,
call for me and for others, of course.
yeah, there are people
yeah,
who would
I
have fun
mean,
with it, and I'm not the ultimate arbiter. I'm just having an incredibly bad day. And to be fair, Jacob, I'm about 90% sure that the next call is going to go just as badly as the one before you. So this is not your fault.
okay. So how we could end here? I could go over some other stuff, or yeah, what would you guys prefer? You guys are the hosts.
Well, I want to know now that you've, and just to make something kind of positive out of this, now that you've found your way out of Mormonism, um, is life better for you now?
So I will say that for the first while, it was definitely worse. One of the big problems I have is I have a really kind of extreme fear of death. And this didn't start when I left the church. I've always had it. I don't know if it's to the point of phobia, but it's definitely more than the average person. And like it's something I think about all the time, or every day, like frequently throughout the day. Thoughts of death, not of like suicide, but like I don't want to die. But, like I'm terrified of the idea. And so, when I was a Mormon, I was happy that I had an idea of an afterlife. And when I lost that, it got really, really depressing. But through other aspects, like me exploring my gender identity, like I consider myself agender, and that has been being able to express that aspect of myself has greatly increased my happiness. So, and I feel a lot better about like the fact that I feel like I'm a lot more rational than I used to be. That all of my beliefs are things that I could defend. And maybe my belief that Mormonism is less ridiculous is not as strong as others, but I could argue like why I'm a nihilist or what my views on objectivity and subjectivity and relations to art and stuff that I never really thought about because as a Mormon, I just believed what I was told. And so things have improved a lot. Things have gotten worse in some aspects, but I don't regret it.
Good. I'd highly recommend reaching out to Recovering from Religion and continue to find out who you are and what you're interested in and all the things that Mormonism might have prevented you from doing. On the fear of death thing, I don't get it, but that's because I'm weird. Like I recognize that I I'm with Mark Twain and that I was dead for 1 billion years before I was born and it never bothered me. So I don't, granted, I was lied to, and told that I had a good reason to think that I was going to live forever in heaven and you thought you were going to become a god and get your own universe. I know which one of those I think is more ridiculous, but it doesn't matter because they're both ridiculous. Because what we know about the human mind and personality and all the things that we would attribute to a soul. The soul is something that almost certainly does not exist and almost certainly could not persist beyond this package of chemical-driven meat stuff. So I'm glad you're doing better. I know, I can imagine it'd be difficult, especially when you're finding out who you are, coming from a place that would have denied everything about what you're finding out. So,
yeah,
definitely.
I'd recommend reaching out to Recovering from Religion and seculartherapy.org if you find that you're in need of that kind of help, and to keep finding out what you like and everything else. But which religion is more ridiculous is not yet the purpose of this show, but someday it might, because it doesn't seem that we're going to get apologists who have any hope of providing a justification for their beliefs, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, in that case, thanks for having a call with me. This was fun. I started watching you guys like 2 weeks ago, and I've been basically like just listening to you guys while I work, and it's been a lot of fun. And
it's awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for calling in and watching. Yep. We appreciate that a lot.
Thanks, Jacob.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
And on Mark Twain, I'm actually like, Mark Twain is now public domain. So I've been writing a modernized version of his book, The Mysterious Stranger. Do you know it?
Is that part of Tales from the Earth?
Might be. I'm not actually sure, but it's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. It's a little bit dated from 1916. So yeah, I'm rewriting a modernized version. I'm changing basically nothing except instead of saying you will see him presently, mine would say he's coming over the hill, that kind of thing. But anyway, so good.
Awesome.
Oh my God.
I love Mark Twain.
Yes, me too.
I got an anthology of Mark Twain books that I'd never heard of. And actually, it was purchased for me as a gift by my uncle, who was a medical missionary, who probably had no idea at the time that he purchased it that Mark Twain was, I won't say an atheist, godless heathen, but might as well have been.
Right.
Especially when you read Letters from Earth and stuff like that. But anyway, we got callers, and now we've got deists and theists who are calling in to offer some thoughts and defense for everything. So we're hitting a reset button. By the way, this is one show of many here on the line. We thank you guys for tuning in. We thank you for your support and everything else. And we're getting more calls in as we come. We're going to be here for another about an hour and 10, 12 minutes or so. And then producer extraordinaire, I'm assuming there's like a calling it now after this.
Yeah, so we've got lots of great stuff coming up on the line today. We've got basically 3 shows, one after the other. We've got the Calling It Now coming up with Jimmy and Jovan right after this, if you guys just stick around. And then tonight, it's going to be the After Dark show with Forrest and Austin. Tomorrow, we got Skeptalk with Dr. Blitz and Forrest, Chewed Gum with Alyssa and Taylor on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, you're coming back with, who's your guest on Wednesday, Matt?
Mandusa.
Hell yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
I can't wait. But we also have callers, and despite my negative Nancy, I'm going to force myself to be as optimistic as possible. So here we go. Wayne is a deist, pronouns are he, him, from, is it Michigan, who wants to talk about science in the Bible. So, hey, Wayne, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm not great, but I think that's obvious. So let's see if we can make me better.
Okay, let's try for that. Yeah, science in the Bible. That's something that has captivated me for decades. I always wanted to know what I was missing. And then, in the book of Exodus, right? The Jews stole 17, 18, 19,000 pounds of pure gold. And then what happened to it? Yes, it got made into an animal, but then they had to eat it or drink it, depending on which Bible you're reading. You familiar with Ormus?
Which event are you referring to?
Well, in Exodus, the Jews were escaping Egypt. They stole all the gold, They ripped off
doesn't say
all
that.
that gold. Well, sure it does.
It says they asked for the gold and they were given it.
Depends on which Bible you're reading. Not all Bibles say that.
Well,
I've never
anyway,
seen that in
I don't.
any Bible
So
I've
here's
read.
the thing. Here's the thing. I don't believe that any of it happened. But also, what does this have to do with science? You're aware that the Bible gets science wrong right from Genesis 1, right?
Well, there's cloning in Genesis 2.
Okay, you're not
right
for
there.
real.
What do you mean I'm not for real? Right there in Genesis 2, the second
not for
creation.
real. You're not for real.
First,
my point was that it gets science wrong from Genesis chapter 1. You think, or you're trying to say something that there's cloning in chapter 2. There's not cloning in Genesis 2. What there is God performing a miracle. Cloning is a scientific process. What is your point, Wayne? Because you're a deist.
Your miracle
I'm sorry.
to me.
I'm sorry, Wayne, I was still talking.
All right. Okay, I'm sorry.
It says you're a deist. Why would a deist care what's in the Bible? And if the Bible has something in it that might be scientific, what does that tell us about the truth of the supernatural claims in the Bible?
Okay, can I speak now?
I literally just asked you a question and paused so that you could speak. Are you unfamiliar with how communication works in a conversation?
I've never done this with you guys. This is my first gig.
Cool.
Okay.
So here's the question. If the Bible has a true claim that is scientific, does that tell us anything about the supernatural claims?
No.
Okay, so why are you calling in? And by the way, you don't believe the Bible, do you?
Most of it not. The vast majority of it.
So you're not a Bible believer. So why are you calling in as a deist to talk about the Bible?
Well, because the Bible is a tool to control the minds of the slaves. Okay, that's what it is. It's a tool. With that being said, there's
no. I'm sorry. I'm not interested in your hypothesis about the Bible and its usefulness. I only care about whether or not the claims are true. So if you're not calling to defend the Bible, or if you're calling to basically say you don't like the Bible because it's used to control people, why did you begin by talking about Jews stealing gold and cloning in chapter 2? How is that relevant to controlling people?
Well, it's in some aspects you're right, but it still
in all aspects I'm right. And you're calling in under your actual phone number to do a prank call, and I'm busting you left and right and center. Why are you doing this, Wayne? What do you get out of it?
Well, I have some good information that I've been able to share with people face to face. So I guess the weakness is this phone thing.
No, the weakness is not the phone thing. The weakness is the thing between your ears, because I asked you, why are you calling in to basically prank call?
I'm not prank calling, but if that's what
you're
you
not.
consider it, then
so you're a deist. You're a deist. What did you call in to defend?
I'm not trying to defend anything.
Then why did you call in? Why did you call in? Because the purpose of this program is for people to call in and defend their God belief against our questions.
Okay. Well,
I'm down here and taking. Oh, It says we're back and we're
back.
recording.
Okay, it says you're back. Let me see if the stream is actually back up. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Okay. No sweat.
problem.
That happens. Yep. I actually wrote a book recently. I don't know. I don't remember if I told you that. Did I tell you that?
Hey, I think we're live.
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good.
Yeah. I now hear Lux saying the stream's back. Okay, I'm going to refresh. We need to get Call in Studio up. And assuming we still have our caller, we can try and take it. Hey, everybody.
You are connected as the host.
There we go. Let's see if this works. William, are you there?
Well, it's going to be muted for a second because of the robot. Hold on. The robot's not done.
Oh, okay. Doodly-doo-doo-doo. I think we may be back, and I think we may have the caller too, so.
Awesome.
Okay, there you guys are.
Hey, William, I need to apologize. We had a terrible technical thing. We went completely down. The show went down, but I think we're all back. And if you're there, we're ready to take your call.
All right, my man. So, recently the Story of Everything by the Discovery Institute just came out. And their thing is they rarely mention the Bible to prove God. They feel that science is sufficient enough, specifically the Big Bang, DNA, and fine-tuning are the evidences they give in the movie to get us to God. Did you guys see the movie?
I haven't, but it's the same thing they've been claiming for ages, and it's not remotely a path to God.
It's the Discovery Institute movie, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't see it, though.
When I went to the movie, I thought there'd be like 3 people in it. It played for a week. And I couldn't hardly find a seat. It was just packed. So now it's on Amazon for now it's on Amazon for $14.95. But what's problematic is the atheists won't spend the $15 so they can review it.
No. That's not what's problematic, William. The problematic thing is that there's nothing new. I guarantee you, if there was anything new in here, it would be published in scientific papers. The Discovery Institute is not a scientific organization, and what they're citing when you get to like all these, the odds of this happening or astronomical, whatever. None of that in any way demonstrates a God. There's no variable for God. There's no way to test or confirm supernatural causation. And the fact that you could say, it's incredibly unlikely for this to occur, doesn't tell you that it's more likely that a God did it, because we have no evidence. We have no way to investigate any other universe beyond this. And we have no way to investigate any God or what a God can or can't do. So it's impossible to say that X, well, it is certainly possible in a Bayesian sense to say that on the proposition that some God exists who wants to create a universe is more likely on that proposition, but that doesn't tell you whether or not this universe is more likely to be the result of a God than not.
Well, but you're right that it's not a research institute by any means, but one of the evidences they use is DNA as an information system. The A's and P's and C's and G's. It's not the makeup like ink on a page. It's not the ink that determines information. It's the letters in the book, the arrangement of letters. And they feel that the arrangement of these nucleotides, which spell out the proteins, they do like to use the big numbers, because Stephen Meyer says the chances that 100 amino acid chain to form a protein, the chances that would happen by chance or by odds are 1 to 10 to the 77th, which is like saying it's impossible because there's only 10 to the 80th protons in the universe. So you don't feel that compelling, the arrangement of the nucleotides?
No. You can't look at the outcome and say that because the outcome's unlikely, it must be some sort of God-designed miracle. So, for example, how many different, here, I got a deck of cards here. It's got 52 cards in it. If I shuffle that deck, how many different possible deck configurations are there?
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 8 times 10 to the 67th. It's 52
So any
factorial.
combination you're seeing would be highly unlikely.
Yeah, and yet every single combination, when it occurs, has a probability of 1 of occurring. You can't just say that, like, for example, I don't know, I don't play bridge, but the perfect bridge hand would be to get all 13 spades, I think it is. We'll just assume that's the case. There's a number of different configurations that would ensure that one person got all 13 spades, but there's only one configuration that would give somebody all 13 spades, somebody else all 13 hearts, all 13 clubs, all 13 times. It's astronomical, and yet decks come in that form, and it's possible to cheat to get that result, but we also know that that result has occurred, or at least my understanding is that it occurred in one tournament. Whether or not you could guarantee that somebody didn't cheat, we don't know. But you don't get to just assume that if it happens, cheating was involved. You'd have to demonstrate that. And if you were at a tournament and it kept happening, I think you could make a really good case for cheating. As a magician and somebody who can cheat at cards but doesn't, I think you could make a really compelling case for that. But the fact that it happened one time doesn't tell you anything. And that's why the Discovery Institute isn't viewed as scientifically credible. And that's why they're making documentaries and propaganda to say, wow, this is really unlikely. We think it's because there's a God. Well, cool story. If in fact there was a God, why would we need a Discovery Institute to run mathematical models on how likely proteins are? I thought when I was a Christian, God was just evident and would interact with us directly or indirectly, depending on things. I wouldn't have thought that we would need to go out and make a fallacious argument, because what are the odds that something other than a God created life?
I don't know.
Like aliens or something.
Well, their thing is, yeah, go ahead.
No, it's like, what are the chances that something else created God, created us, like aliens or something? We have no idea what the chances are that this would happen, and he can speculate all he wants about it being like lower chances than the number of atoms in the universe or protons or whatever. But that's all it is at the end of the day. It's just speculating and spitballing. And when we're dealing on astronomical terms, when we're dealing with such large numbers, the chances of a 1 in a million thing happening go way up. What are the chances that some 1 in a million event are going to happen in the United States any given day? Well, there are 342 million people in the US or something, right? So the chance that a 1 in a million event's going to happen in the US is pretty good, actually. So that's the bottom line.
So were they talking specifically about like the problem?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, they like to use the bicycle lock, that if it had 10 combinations, it's very unlikely. And they go to William Dembski's specified complexity, that you have information that's very specified. So someone will use, if you had 10 people in a room, you'd have 10 birthdays. Well, that's going to be unlikely anyway, any number of those. But if it's very specified, a certain birthday, they feel that's highly unlikely, and they analogize it to the formation of proteins.
Well, here's the interesting thing about that. It's actually, if there are 23 people in a room, that it is likely that 2 of those people will have the exact same birthday. 23 people is the limit.
Yep. As long as you don't specify the date.
Right. Things seem unlikely, but they're really not. I mean, people don't understand big numbers. Our brains aren't designed to understand big numbers like that, or statistics or whatever. Things are counterintuitive. Doesn't mean that it's unlikely necessarily.
But when you're talking about what appears to be specified complexity, when something aligns with specification, there are a number of different ways that could happen. It could happen by coincidence. It could happen by copying information, which, by the way, is how DNA and self-replicating RNA, that's how they proceed, is by copying information. And so where's the demonstration that because we see even what appears to be specified complexity, that the best explanation for that is that there's a supernatural being that we can't investigate that is responsible for it, instead of just a really unlikely set of natural processes?
Well, they had James Core on, and he feels that the origin of life is just so difficult to get the polysaccharides, the nucleotides, and so forth there at once. It's just so unlikely. And then when you do get these things, a lot of times you can get too many compounds that can gum up the process. So they just feel that it's so unlikely that obviously God would have to come in, whether it's RNA becoming DNA or whatever, to get these things off the ground. And he, in his book, The Return of the God Hypothesis, Stephen Meyer has the Cambrian explosion as another evidence of God's intervening, because he doesn't feel the Ediacaran precursors like the Dickinsonia and the Charnia are sufficient to be precursors to the Cambrian. And of course, you had the Ediacaran extinction, which most of those died away anyway.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is that these people in the Discovery Institute feel that it's so unlikely for X, Y, or Z that God is a better explanation. How unlikely does something need to be before God becomes a better explanation?
Well, you take another evidence was the Big Bang, and
that's
they
not
feel
what I asked.
Like how unlikely? Boy, well, who can answer that? I mean, if it's Discovery,
so that's the problem. That's the problem. They are saying X is so unlikely that God is more likely, and my question was, how unlikely does something have to be before God is the preferred explanation? And you just implied nobody can answer that. And yet you're pointing me to people who think they've answered it. So I'd like an answer to the question, how unlikely does something have to be before God is the preferred explanation?
Well, let's take the expansion rate of the universe, very unlikely, and the energy density of the universe is 10 to the 120th. So that's one of the numbers they use, which 10 to the 120th is just, it's like saying it's impossible to happen by chance. That this expansion
You're not answering
rate,
my question.
Well, that's the answer, 10 to the 120th. And they have another thing, Stephen Hawking said.
No, I'm sorry.
10 to the 10 to the 120th.
My question was, how unlikely does something have to be before God is the preferred explanation? And all you did was say, they say in one circumstance, it's 10 to the 20th.
10 to the 120th, yeah.
Sorry, 10 to the 120th. And so how did they determine that is the likelihood at which God becomes more probable?
Well, obviously they have their experts and PhDs on staff that
No, you don't get to no. I'm sorry, but you don't just get to say they have their experts. We need the methodology, because how do you investigate how likely it is for something? So my problem here is I don't even think that the supernatural is possible, let alone probable or plausible. And I know of no way to investigate the supernatural to determine if it's possible for it to even exist, let alone if it's possible for it to interact with reality in any detectable way. And in order to say the supernatural is the better explanation, the more rational, the more plausible explanation, you need a way to demonstrate that the supernatural is possible and that it can interact with reality in a detectable way, and how to tell which is more likely for any given occurrence X in reality. Natural causes has some probability, And then you have to show what the supernatural probability is and show that it's more probable. How do they do that?
Well, they're not known for their research papers, obviously. They don't publish much. They're basically a propaganda machine for creation. And instead, like I said, they never use the Bible hardly. And that's smart because they avoid the problems of the Bible,
I'm sorry.
Genesis, the plants.
It's like we're not even speaking. Are you calling on because you agree with the Discovery Institute or because you think they're full of shit?
Great question. I agree with some things, but I never trust creationism when they, to your point, when they use those big numbers. I automatically, like the gravitational constant being fine-tuned to 10 to the 40th. Well, there's other scientists that would agree with that. But you got a point. Does that imply God? But then when you get
that wasn't my point. My point was to ask you, are you calling because you agree with them or because you think they're full of shit? And you said a little of both.
I think I agree with them somewhat. I mean,
okay. What do you agree with them on?
I find give an example. They don't go into this, but the codons that grab the adenine, thymine, and uracil. Uracil takes the thymine, adenine, cytosine, and uracil. But it takes the thymine's place, and it grips these amino acids and form proteins. Well, they have start codons, like the AUG, I believe it is, that start the codon, the RNA translation, and then they have stop codons. So I know you're going to accuse me of incredulity, but how in the world does that happen by chance? In the protein folding, they show this in the movie, by the way.
It doesn't happen by chance. It happens according to the laws of physics and chemistry.
Well, obviously, but how do you get the protein folding?
It's a progressive process. One step leads to the next.
Well, and that's what the fossil evidence seems to show, that you have a prokaryotic that becomes a eukaryotic cell with a nucleus. But unfortunately, that takes like a billion years.
That's a very rare event, yes. There are a couple of very rare events that took place, like prokaryotes switching to eukaryotes, very rare. Does not mean impossible. It did happen once in our history. So the probability that it'll happen is 1, right?
Obviously,
so
it happened.
Like the prokaryote to eukaryote jump, it did happen. It's not a surprise that this took place, and we do understand the process of absorbing archaea or whatever it was in using it as the nucleus to the cell or whatever it is.
So the question I asked, though, was what do you agree with the Discovery Institute about?
Well, I agree with the improbability of the chamber in which you have the echinoderms, the brachiopods, the trilobites, basically going from soft-shelled, biota to hard-shelled things like trilobites and skeletons. It just seems so improbable that that's going to happen by random means, and they feel that the mutation, which is one of the mechanisms for evolution.
What is your justification for saying it's what is your justification? What is your justification for saying that it's improbable? And what conclusion can you reach after reaching the conclusion it's improbable?
That God might intervene in this deal.
How do you know that it's possible for a God to exist and to intervene?
What's the other? Well, obviously, super intellect. I mean, could have got these things off the ground, like the Gret. Oh, and
that's
they
not
use
what
this
I asked.
Quote, the money quotes. Okay, well, I'm just going to say the money quote is Fred Hoyle said it looks like a super intellect has monkeyed with physics, chemistry, and biology, and there are no blind forces worth talking about.
I swear to the God you're trying to fucking pass off that I'm completely unimpressed with bullshit quotes from people. I'd like you to think for yourself and answer for yourself. And the question was, how do you know God is possible?
Because of the evidence. the evidence.
What
from,
evidence
Earth
is there?
history.
What evidence is there that a God is possible? Here, let me change my prompt again.
I think the evolution of Tiktaalik to tetrapods is just too improbable. Those flippers turning into legs.
The evolution of TikTok, or do you mean Tiktaalik?
Tiktaalik.
Tiktaalik.
Yeah.
You have no expertise and you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. But what I asked you was, how do you know God is possible? The evolution of TikTok has Tiktaalik has nothing to do with demonstrating that a God is possible. Are you just another fucking prank caller here? Are you just pulling up bullshit quotes and things from the Discovery Institute or ChatGPT? My question is, what evidence do you have that a God is possible?
That the Discovery Institute feel
what
that
evidence do you have? Okay, you're a fucking liar. You're a liar, William.
Novel body plans. Very simple.
You're a liar, William. You're a liar. You're a time-wasting bullshit liar. What evidence do you have that a God is possible? Guys. What evidence? I didn't ask if you were a fucking expert. I know you're not an expert, you fucking clown. TikTok. What evidence do you have that any supernatural being possibly exists?
Well, the improbabilities of life.
No, sir, that's not evidence. No, sir, that's not evidence for the supernatural, you dumb motherfucker.
Well, do you want to go to the Bible and its problematic scientific?
No, I don't want to go to the Bible. I want you to admit that you're a prank calling, lying piece of shit that's wasting my fucking time.
Well, welcome to the land of you don't have a choice. It's either people have got to believe in God. So it's either answer the Genesis.
No, they don't.
Discovery.
I don't believe in God. And William, the greatest admission you could have done that you're just absolutely full of shit and sitting here trolling, and now I'm at peace, is the fact that you didn't get upset that I called you a motherfucker, which was a test. Congratulations. But then when I pointed out that you were obviously busted, you went to, well, what choice do you have? People have to believe in God. No, they don't. So you're not even a God believer. I'm going to bet that you're not even an actual God believer at all, and that you're just someone who found the show, and you've called in previously 18 times. And 18 times, have we ever had a conversation? Yeah, I've got your phone number. It shows here 18 times. Last time you called in to say the Bible is not junk. It has historical. I'm sorry, I'm still fucking talking. You don't get to talk until I tell you can talk, little boy.
Yes,
do you have evidence that a God, a supernatural being, is possible? Yes or no?
Yeah. I believe the expansion rate of the universe be fully fine-tuned, not to mention the other fine-tuning.
I'm sorry, William, but the fact that you believe something is incredulous without a supernatural intervention is not evidence that a supernatural intervention is possible. Your personal incredulity is not evidence for the supernatural. How do you know?
Well, that's what it's going to
when we're making a list of candidate explanations, like, for example, a mutation happens in a particular allele in one of my ball pythons and produces something slightly different in the phenotype. If we're going to list candidate explanations, we know that there are candidate explanations for that, like copying errors and things like that. Should we include God changed the DNA as a candidate explanation?
Yeah.
Why should we include? Why should we include God did it as a candidate explanation? How do you know that's even possible?
Okay. This is definitely a troll, right? Come on.
Yeah. And what's good is now I get to, after 18 calls, William, I finally get to add your number to the ban list because it's obvious that you're a troll.
Oh, no.
So
please.
would you do me this favor? would you do me this favor, William?
Sure.
Will you explain to everybody who's watching why do you do this? I promise I won't ban you if you just explain why you do this.
Well, man, obviously it's because I don't have a life. I play pickleball and I do apologetic 20 hours a week. And by the way, I'm going to be talking to Aaron Ra on Godless Granny July 2nd or July 4th, excuse me. And you can
bet?
see on Godless Granny.
You want to bet?
Sorry, what?
You want to bet? See, because I'm going to call Aaron right now, and I'm going to message Godless Granny. I'm going to say this guy that's calling it. No, stop talking. And I'm going to say this guy that is bragging that he's going to call in to talk to you when he is just a prank caller who's wasting time.
Please don't do that, Matt. This is my life.
Too late. Too late, William.
Oh, gosh.
I promised I wouldn't ban you, so I'm not going to. That doesn't mean that Jimmy won't.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
All right. Awesome. That was a ridiculous phone call.
We don't have any other calls. Well, there's somebody there's a web caller that's initializing, and I need to text Aaron real quick. But I had a list of upcoming conventions. I'll go ahead. I'll text Aaron afterwards. William, I've got your number jotted down, so I'm not going to ban you, but Jimmy might. On July 11th, if you go to SethAndrews.com/Cincinnati, you'll find Seth Andrews and No Illusions are going to be together July 11th in Ohio. On July 12th is the Ark Encounter Protest 10th anniversary. You can find more information about that at arkresistance.com. July 31st through August 2nd is NanoCon in Tennessee, outside of Nashville at the Montgomery Bell State Park. Nanocon.rocks, ROCKS, is where you can go to get more information about that. I will be there doing a magic show and probably, other things as well. I'm really looking forward to it. Man, there's a lot going on right now. August 21st through 23rd is BajaCon in Sarnia, Ontario. You can go to BajaCon.com. That's BAHACON.com. AHACon 26 is coming up September 19th. And then October 23rd through 25th is the Rocket City Reason. You can go to rocketcityreason.com for more information about that. And November 28th through December 6th is the Black Nonbelievers Cruise. And you can go to bnseacon.com. That's bncon.com for more information about that. No, Noah. There's another one that I'm going to look up, but Owen, sorry.
Yes.
Do you know
Dyslexia.
of things coming up that are worthwhile or interesting?
I'm not really sure of anything specifically. I know American Atheists skipped their conference this year, sadly. I wouldn't get to go to that anyway because I just had a kid, of course. But no, yeah, that's about it. Although, if you guys are interested, I just wrote a book, God's People, Christian Nationalism in the Third Reich. It's 11 biographical essays about important people in the Third Reich who contributed to Christian nationalism. And it has original research, very detailed, interesting stuff. So it's on Amazon and Audible if you want to find it.
Well, I'm a terrible. So Seth Andrews does all this wonderful work and has arranged a sort of Unholy Trinity reunion.
Interesting.
And so, it says video unavailable.
I can still hear and see you. I'm not sure.
No, I mean the video that Seth shared for Unholy Trinity. I tried to load it up. All right. Well, I guess I'm not going to get the information I thought. We are recovering from a tech disaster here, and there's a call screening right now. So we'll see if we can get to that call. Somebody in chat got the link. Is it unholytrinity.com or info or fuck? How do I not know this shit?
Taking a look. Noah is just Owen sideways. Yes, your selective dyslexia kicked in. Love creators communicating to each other about bad actors and safeguarding the community. Another book push makes 3 times that I've heard. Like, it's fine, but man, it gets old. Really? You don't think I should be talking about the books I write? Okay.
Wow. Another book push. Well,
Yeah.
that makes me actually more inclined to finally get around to doing one. Hey, I found it. It's unholytrinity.net.
There you go.
So if you go to unholytrinity.net, you can find that on August 29th at the Fort Worth Botanical Garden, myself and Seth Andrews and Arn Robb will be getting together for a reunion. We started this back in 2014, and now we are doing an event once again. And right now it's just the one event. There's a possibility a second date might get added because I think we like sold out half the tickets in the first day or so or something like that.
That's awesome. How many people are you looking at? Do you know?
I don't know. I think it's only like 250 to 300 people in this particular venue. But we like to, we're not looking to fill 3,000 seat venues anytime soon. We want to actually make this thing workable. But
Yeah.
hey, we have a caller. So I don't need to just sit here and ramble.
Let's bring him in.
Ben is
Hello.
an atheist from Connecticut with a question about the Bible. Ooh, I'm probably going to disappoint you, Ben, but welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Yeah, quick backstory. My whole family is religious as hell, and I was flipping through the Bible trying to find out something for defense for myself, and I went across Acts 16:31, where it stated basically someone in the household has been saved. Everyone in the household is now saved. Is that correct?
I've never heard that myself.
That's what the passage says, but that's not what it means to my understanding. It's not hey, if you get saved, everybody in your family is going to get saved in the sense of they're already saved. Like, oh, I got saved, so everybody in my family is automatically saved. Instead, my understanding, and here, let me put my Jesus hat back on.
Okay.
As I would have talked about.
Looks good on you, by the way.
God, I hate it. As I would have talked about Acts 16:31 when I was a believer. Salvation is an individual thing. The best understanding of this is to say that if you are saved, it will fundamentally change your life so that the people in your household may get saved.
Oh, I see.
Now, I'm not saying that is in any way the correct interpretation. I have no idea what the correct, I don't even know if there can be a correct interpretation. And I'm sure that there's been, I'm actually looking at, right now I've got my eSword up. And so I have a whole bunch of Bible commentaries.
The eSword. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never heard of that one.
Oh, I've talked about it a lot. It's E-sword. Let me.
Oh, that's the website? Jehovah's Witnesses call their Bible the Silver Sword. That's cool.
It is. Oops. Let me see. Well, I don't think I can get it up in this tiny little space right now, but yeah, it is a utility. And what it is like, I can look at not just the passage, but Bible dictionaries and concordances and various commentaries. And it's been a long time since I looked at Acts, but I don't think the notion that your whole family is automatically saved is consistent with any significant doctrinal view.
Well, that sucks. I thought I could use it for defense.
I mean, like the Bible has all kinds of various different things in it, and lots of contradictions and stuff like that. You know, what are you trying to defend? You mean you're trying to point out another contradiction?
No, not exactly. I'm trying to defend on why, they're trying to push me, go to church, yada, yada.
Oh, I see,
speak
right.
with the preacher, all this jazz. And I thought I could pull that out of my back pocket and say, well, I don't have to go. You guys went.
I mean, if you want to be facetious, you could. I think that the going argument in Christianity, or at least in Catholicism right now, is that their interpretation of the Bible is the definitive final one, and they've been blessed by God to make that call, and any deviation from that doctrine is just wrong. And the doctrine they've settled on is everybody needs to be individually saved. Now you know, that's all nonsense. So you can really interpret the Bible any way you want, as long as it's historically accurate, I figure. So if you want to be facetious, feel free. But
so there's the process of what must I do to be saved, or the study of it, soteriology. I said before, one of my favorite debates of all time, and it's Matt Slick and Jesse somebody. I always forget Jesse's name, but it was two Christians basically arguing about doctrine related to salvation, soteriology. And so there are people who have this kind of kindergarten level theology that good people go to heaven and bad people go to hell. That's the baseline simple misrepresentation. And as somebody who grew up Southern Baptist, one of the first things we're taught is that that's not at all how that works. It has nothing to do with good. And salvation is a gift from God. And there's a number of different views still within that, hey, all I need to do is say the sinner's prayer, all I need to do is, John 3:16, for God so loved the world, he sent his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. And that so all I have to do is believe in Jesus. But then there's other passages that are, no, you must repent and turn from this, and you must, do this. And whether or not baptism is a function of salvation, it's probably not under 90% of reasonable doctrines, or whether it's something you do out of obedience to God to show your participation in the church. All of those things, they're argued and debated and everything else. But if in fact faith is not even you don't exercise faith, God grants you the faith to accept this, I'm going to call it absurdity, just so I don't have to throw up and go take a shower after defending a version of Christianity. But God, by his grace, gifts you with faith to accept what needs to accept for him to save you. But God decides who's saved and who's not. God saves who he will. And God supposedly, under most models, would know who's going to end up saved or not. So if they tell somebody, there's also this whole thing of whatever you deem on earth, whatever two more you together in my name, I shall make it so. So if they say, hey, you believe in and you'll be in heaven and so will your family, God could still do that. There's nothing that prohibits, there's nothing prohibiting God from saving whoever he wants for whatever reason he wants. I just wish he'd stop picking assholes.
Oh, stop. You're killing me. Yeah.
Well, you might go to hell
my
then.
whole thing is true. Now that I'm getting a little older, I get the whole speech about my in-laws and my wife and everything. What's going to happen when you die? We won't be together in heaven. Yada, yada, yada. And I don't want to be
like I said,
about it and just shut them down.
You can interpret it largely how you want, as long as it's historically accurate. There are things that are kind of opinion more than anything. And my take on Christianity, on Jehovah's Witness doctrine specifically, is that God will allow people with good hearts into the paradise, and if he doesn't, then I don't want to be a part of that anyway. So screw him. You could tell her that if you want. Yeah.
I will.
That's the way I
Thank
see
you. You guys have been very helpful.
Yeah.
In a way.
Right. No problem.
There's a limit to how helpful we really want to be anyway.
Yeah.
Oh man, you
for those who are yep, awesome, thank you. So this is the utility here behind me.
That's cool.
And you won't be able to see it properly while we're cropped. But up here are all the various different Bible versions. So in this case, I've got the King James Version selected along with the dictionary, so you can get pop-ups for the words. Actually, you guys can't see the pop-up. I can, because it's my screen grabber's not grabbing the pop-up, but there you can click on this. It'll show you the word, how many instances, how many occurrences there are, everything else. Then there are other versions that aren't polluted with links to that. And then over on this side, there are Bible commentaries and concordances and all kinds of things down here. And so you can see, oh, look, I don't want to just use this Bible dictionary. I want to check out a couple different ones. So we can see, what the Greek words were, see from different translations. There's a lot of utility in something like that. It's designed for preachers, and ministers and Bible students to study this stuff. I've been using it, I don't know, for 20 some odd years, more than that. It's 26. It's been at least 20 years I've been using this. It's always open, or almost always open. And anytime somebody wants to go to the Bible, I'll have that open, because I studied all this stuff for decades, but I don't need to remember all of it. And I have other things that I care about. So.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks guys. Enjoy the rest of the show. And, I appreciate both of you.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Ben. All right. Hey, we got a caller who says they've got a good reason for us to believe in God. So Adam is calling from Croatia. Adam, it says here you have a good reason for us to believe in a God. Which God, and what's the reason? Hello?
You with us? Testing 1 2 3. Hello? Maybe we don't have. There's like a talking in the background.
Hey, Adam, are you there? Hello? Okay, I have no idea. Maybe Adam's watching the local news in Croatia. Part of the problem is that we only have like 15 minutes left on the show. Yeah. Adam may be our last caller. Let's try this again. Maybe the beep will click. Hello, Adam. Can you hear us, or did we just call to hear the news from Croatia?
Nope. Okay.
Hello. It's wild that you're not even watching the show you're calling into.
Right.
Let's do this. Let's leave Adam here live, and we'll talk, because I posted a question above my head for Adam, if Adam ever shows up. And that is,
I'm here,
yes. You're here. Awesome. Adam, well, we've been talking to you for a little while now, but we weren't getting any response. And you say that you have a good reason, for us to believe in a God. And so I'd like to know, which God should we believe in, and what's the good reason?
No, I'm sorry. I called you earlier and something interrupted me. I wanted to speak on completely other issue. You had a title that God is not good. So I wanted to speak about that.
That God is not good.
The title was still held here. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. So you're gonna argue that God is good?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So my question is, how can we know that God is good?
Yes, and my response is, how do you know? Do you know what happens in eternity? Do you know what happens?
I'm sorry, but I asked, how do we know that God is good? And you're asking me questions? No, I don't know what happens in eternity.
So if we don't know what happens in eternity, then how can you judge any of God's actions?
I can judge God's actions because I don't need to know what happens in eternity to determine if somebody tells me that God did something, I can judge that action. So if they say that God basically put two people in a garden and told them, don't eat this fruit or you'll die, I can judge that action and say that's immoral.
I would disagree because,
okay, so
for
you
example,
think, well, hang on, Adam, you disagree. That means you think that we can't judge God's actions?
No, I said I disagree with you.
Yes, but you're saying that means we can't. I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand you. Does that mean you think we cannot judge God's actions?
Exactly.
Then how could you determine that God is good?
By hope and reason.
No. You just said you can't judge God's actions, and if you can't judge God's actions, then you can't determine God is good.
I can by hope and reason.
No. Hope is not a way to determine something, and reason, if it can be used to assess, is exactly what you said you couldn't do.
Okay, let me try to explain like this.
I don't need you to try to explain it. You've already contradicted yourself. You have said that you cannot judge God's actions, which means you cannot judge that God is good.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
But you have hope and reason that is more important than judging God, because you don't need to judge God.
You're correct. I don't need to. I don't think there's a God to judge, but I don't understand what you're calling in to defend, because we said that God is not good, and we're basically saying that the God character is described in things like the Bible, etc. That's not a good character. We don't think he's real. But now you say we have hope and reason. I agree. I have hope and I have reason. So what?
So like this, for example, is this criticism of God, is that the only thing you see in this life? Do you see any other things? For example, we human beings, we would never, if we are to exist forever, we would never give food for a hungry people in Africa, because we can give it now and we're not giving it. We would never. We are not good.
We do that. We already do that.
No, we don't. No,
we do. We don't. Not all of us. We don't all give, and we don't all give enough. But we definitely do that.
You could give something today that costs you nothing, and you didn't do it. Same as me, because we are not good.
What can I give today that costs me nothing?
Something.
What can I give that costs me nothing? What can I give that costs me nothing?
$5 or $10.
$5 or $10.
Okay. $5 or $10 doesn't mean it costs me nothing.
Well, for
it costs
you,
me $5 or $10, right?
You are normal. No. If you are good, you wouldn't care for $5. We don't
You
care.
said that
We are not good.
you said
That's
that
the
I could
problem.
give. It cost me nothing. What cost me? What can I give that cost me nothing?
$5 or $10.
That cost me $5 or $10. That's literally false. If I have $5 or $10 and if I have $20 and I give $5, how much did that cost me?
Oh, I'm trying to say we are not good,
No,
and
no,
that's
Adam.
it.
If I have
$20,
Adam, if I have $20 and I give away $5, how much did that cost me?
Matt, can I explain to you in
No,
one
Adam,
sentence?
my
Please,
question
without
is,
interrupting me.
if I have $20 and I give away $5, how much did that cost me?
I refuse to answer because we have
Then you're going
more
to go
important
away and
things
I'm
to
going to hang
discuss.
up on you. I'm going to hang up on you because you're a liar.
You are a little bit hysterical. Calm down.
I'm not hysterical at all. I'm actually perfectly calm and in complete control because you're a liar and a fraud. You said that I can give something that cost me nothing. And when I asked what it was, you said $5 or $10. And then when I tried to explain that actually does cost me something, you tried to suggest that it doesn't. And so I said, if I have $20 and I give away $5, how much did that cost me? And you won't answer the question because it exposes you as a liar.
Hey, I'm a liar. If that satisfies you, fine. Okay, now let's move on.
No, it satisfies me. Goodbye. I don't like talking to liars. How weird. Adam just keeps calling in to lie.
Is that not the first one he's called in before?
Oh, God, no. Adam's called in a ton. I'm at a loss. Well, here's the thing. There's only 7 minutes left in the show. Somebody said, please stop. This is abuse of the stupid. The entertainment value is not worth it. Yeah, we're not abusing the stupid. It's the prank callers that are basically mocking the stupid. But
painfully stupid.
I'm really I don't know. Are the guys on Calling It Now ready for us to flip it over now? Because we've had a tech error. We lost callers. We don't have time to get another caller.
I mean, can you shoot the shit for 5 minutes?
Yes, we can absolutely shoot the shit for 5 minutes.
Think we could manage that?
Owen, as an XJW.
Yeah.
What's the biggest difference between what you used to believe and what you would see as what I used to believe?
I think the belief in paradise earth versus the belief in going to heaven. I mean, you believed that you would go to heaven, right?
Yes.
That was definitely one of the biggest differences. Interestingly enough, I think Jehovah's Witnesses are correct on certain biblical interpretations. Like, I don't think the Trinity is actually in the Bible or that it was actually believed by Jesus or whatever, right? And I think that's the same with going to heaven. I think that the belief was that there would be a paradise earth and, you know, the Son of Man would come along and spark Armageddon and bring about the end or whatever. Is that your interpretation?
Well, in hindsight, there are certain things that I definitely see that way. But how would you explain Jesus telling the guy that he would be with him in paradise today?
Oh, he definitely thought he was bringing about paradise. Jesus definitely, well, I mean, at the very least, the people who wrote the Bible, my interpretation is they believed that it was coming any 5 minutes, that it'd be there in their lifetimes, right? And then when it didn't come, they didn't know what to do. But my interpretation was the people who wrote the Bible believed Jesus was going to bring about the paradise, so they wrote it in that he told the guy he'd be in paradise with him because they thought it would be the end. I don't know.
Yeah. So I coming from a much more literal background.
Yeah.
It's Luke 23, verse 43. And so Jesus says to him, "Verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise." And I'm not studied enough to know. I know there have been arguments about whether today is the correct translation of the timing of this and what exactly is or isn't meant by paradise. I mean, I can pull up my utility here and, hey, I can see that this, but it's like, verily today, and I don't know enough, even with a Greek dictionary in front of me and a Hebrew dictionary in front of me, to know for sure what that meant. But I can say that what I was taught is that is a justification for the idea of paradise, meaning heaven, because Jesus clearly knew that the world was not going to turn into paradise that day, because his view was it was finished, and then there's the resurrection and the Great Commission, and still a lot of work to do. And I will, behold, the Son of Man will come back again, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so that was the doctrine that would say, okay, if Jesus tells the guy on the cross next to him that today you will be with me in paradise, then that means heaven already exists, and that's where they're going.
Right. Do you think that's the case? Do you think that's what was intended by the writers? That they believed that or whatever?
I don't know enough. This is where, I mean, it's one of the many reasons why I'm an atheist, is I look at this stuff, and even amongst my friends who are far better studied, I mean, it would be good. We should ask Justin or somebody, but my view, I have my Southern Baptist view, and then I have my independent study view. And my independent study took a different track, which is, I have no reason to believe that any of this occurred or was said. And so when people are writing a story, why does this appear in Luke and not, for example, in every other gospel in the same way? The notion that people are out there thinking they know what the author's original intent is almost as bizarre to me as people thinking that God and the Holy Spirit are directly revealing to them what it's supposed to mean, and that everybody who disagrees got a false revelation from a demon or something.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think we have any way of really knowing exactly what they were thinking, of course. I think the original Jewish interpretation or understanding or belief was that the Son of Man, whoever that happened to be, was going to come about and start a paradise on earth. Like, the idea of him being in heaven wasn't, or of everyone going to heaven or whatever, wasn't really part of the standard beliefs at the time before Christianity. I'm talking like 1,000 years before Jesus, if I'm not mistaken. And that's why I would think, I mean, Jehovah's Witnesses said their excuse was God created Adam and Eve in a garden. Why would he have changed his mind? God doesn't change his mind. His goal never changed. I mean, so that's a fair argument, I suppose. But yeah.
Still want to know why God didn't just create everybody in heaven who he knew was going to be in heaven instead of making people jump through a bunch of hoops. But
yeah, and I also don't understand why he didn't just give Adam a vasectomy and put him somewhere in America and create a new breeding pair to kill the sin. Seems like that would have been the better option. But okay.
Wow, what a good! I'm going to vote Owen for deity. That's a much better solution. We have run out of time. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We're going to throw you over to Calling It Now. Appreciate everybody calling in and for dealing with us throughout a tech issue. My gosh, that was amazing to come back and find out people were still here and the callers were still here, even if the callers were a bunch of frauds and liars. And no real apologist ever wants to engage honestly on these subjects anymore. See you next time for less, more.
Yeah.
Who knows?